Welcome to Lesson 2, Mist-Covered Mountains. So excited you could join me here in Lesson 2. Again, the links below for the sheet music and all the lessons of this workshop. And let's get right into it. Lesson 1, we ended off on an F, and that's right where we're going to start this lesson. And we have 3 Fs in a row. They're all separated by different embellishments. I gave you a couple options in terms of doing that grip or an easier option. That's where we ended off lesson 1. Here our next embellishment is going to be a doubling on the F. So I'll give you an easier option there too as well. But the doubling is not bad, but there is an easier option. So we're on the F. I'll just play the little chunk for you here. So that's the part we're breaking down. Our first little embellishment, as I mentioned, is the doubling. So twice that top finger has to lift, cover the hole, lift, cover the hole. So it does that twice. That's our doubling. If you can't quite do that quick enough, you could just do a G grace note. A G grace note is it just goes up and down once instead of twice. So here's the G grace note version. And we're going to do a G grace note down to that low A, but this would be the most simple version we could do. So let me talk about note transitions here. We're on the F, we're walking down the scale to the, dropping one finger to the E. We're skipping the D, we're going to jump right to the C from the E to C. So our ring finger has to go down, cover the hole, our pinky covers the hole, our middle 2 fingers come up on the bottom hand. And then C down to low A, lift up that pinky finger, all the other fingers drop down. And we'll typically do a burl there, but the most simple option is a low G strike with that pinky finger. So that'd be the most simple option. So again, here's the simple version. Once you get down to that low A, you're on the low A for one beat. The next beat will be that finger tap. So with that little section, we'll talk about the other embellishments like I got in the sheet music and the link below there, and then we'll add it into what we did in lesson 1 in a moment. But first, to talk about embellishments here. So the F doubling we've already talked about. So there's an embellishment we haven't talked about. C down to low A, we can get there with a G grace note. Now we want that G grace note to happen, to make the transition happen. We don't want the grace note to go before. We don't want that, and we don't want it to come after. We want it to happen with the note transition. So this is what we want. So it can take a little work to get there if you're new to G grace notes or new to grace notes with transitions. So the top finger has to lift, our bottom hand, pinky finger comes up, middle 2 fingers come down, then the top finger comes down. That's the order. Doesn't really sound like a grace note, right? But just do that slow a couple times just to get used to it. And then you can get it sped up. And then our last embellishment is going to be a burl. Here's how it'll sound in context, then I'll break it down for you. So that burl, you could just do the single tap as I mentioned. You can do a quick double tap. But really for a burl, you're going to slide the finger across the hole and then come back. So it slides across and comes back. I find sliding, it's kind of like for doing that low G strike or that grip. When we're sliding, it kind of helps to do that little bit of a turn with your forearm. When you slide back, it helps to curl the pinky a little bit sometimes. And it can just take a bit of practice. A little bit of forehead wax or behind the ear wax can help that pinky finger slide a little bit more, but it takes a little bit of practice to get that burl. And let's just play through lesson 1 and lesson 2. I'll play through the whole lesson 1 and lesson 2 without any embellishments or the minimal amount of embellishments that we can do. And then I'll go ahead and play them with embellishments. And before I do this, again, all the lessons are in the link below, and I hope to see you in lesson 3 and beyond. And as well as the sheet music's there. I got highlighted different sections that correspond to each lesson, so you know exactly where I am. So here's the minimal embellishment version, lesson 1 and 2 combined. So there's the non-embellished version or the minimal embellished version, and here's lesson 1 and 2 with embellishments. So there's lesson 1 and 2. Can't wait to see you in lesson 3, and we will chat a little bit about foot tapping and rhythm and clapping and how to put rhythm to this. But right now, even just getting the notes, getting comfortable with how many embellishments you're doing is great. And again, the links below to access all the lessons. Can't wait to see you in lesson 3.